What is up, YouTube? I am Eric and you are watching Retro Video Game Pickups. In this video, we are talking about my top 5 places to pick up video games. Now, I'm going to talk about a bunch of games or places to pick up games that you will need to check out in your area. But before that being said, I want to say, make sure you subscribe and hit that bell notification because it lets you know when I post more videos, which is almost every day, if not every day. So with that being said, let's check out some great places to pick up video games. So the first place I pick up video games is something that a lot of people don't think about, and that is pawn shops. Now, pawn shops are very good to pick up video games because if you go to pawn shops, most of the time they do not individually price games. What they'll say is PlayStation 4 games, $5, or let's say $10. $10 for Xbox One and PlayStation 4 games, and then PS3 and Xbox 360 like $6, and then it goes down and down. And what you find out happening there is you actually get better deals than you would if you went to a place to individually price them. Now, I guess a lot of people in my area trade in games to actual pawn shops because I always am finding games at the pawn shops. Now, there's a few in my area that I always hit up because I know they will always have things that I want, but oftentimes I find good games that are like 30 to 50% of fair market retail or fair market value or retail, whatever it is. I can usually find it way cheaper there because they just don't do their research, nor do they really care enough. They probably paid $1 for that $5 game or $10 game that you paid for, so they're not really all that interested in it because they are making money. But I find it very interesting and very awesome because I am able to find games that I wouldn't necessarily buy if they were $15 to $30 or maybe $50. And sometimes I can find games that are worth $50 for like $15 to $20, which is definitely yet again another great place. Now, this is a little kind of added bonus here. Pawn shops are great places to pick up games that you don't want to play and taking them to GameStop and getting trade-in credit, because you could boost that $5 that you spent and maybe get $8 or $9, depending on the game, of course. But I pull out the app that is on my phone and I look at how much GameStop is willing to give me, whether in cash or trade value. Normally I stick with trade value because it gets me more money towards new games, but that's dependent on what you want to do. So if you want to kind of make some more money on the side, since you're already going to the pawn shop, definitely check it out and look at how much you could get for that game on GameStop, and maybe you'll make some money and get some cool games that you don't already have. Okay, so this next one is thrift stores, and this list is probably something that you guys know about, but I wanted to let you guys know that thrift stores is a great place to go because you can go to these places and oftentimes find good games that are used and have been donated. But I will say most of the places that I go to are that kind of layout where games are $4 or $5, whatever it is, unless they think that it's worth more. So if for some reason I get a Mario Kart Double Dash, they might put it for 10, 15, 20 bucks, whatever that is. But for most of the games, they're very normal. They're $4, $5, whatever, $3, $2. It doesn't matter. But those are good places to check because a lot of people donate games, which I don't understand because you could literally go to GameStop and get cash value. But I digress there. Maybe people don't want to waste their time, or maybe they just want to donate it because they don't think it's worth it. Whatever it is, they oftentimes overlook potential money when they are donating games, but then I always love picking them up at a cheap price. So I think thrift stores are a great place because you can find some very cool things that people have played and maybe they're not even interested in. And honestly, I've found some awesome things at thrift stores. I've found some boxed Nintendo 64 games, I've found consoles, all kinds of stuff like that at thrift stores, and that's why I check them out. Now, the next one is a place that I think people probably know about, but they just don't always go to, and I'm separating this from thrift stores and saying Goodwill, because I think Goodwill is kind of a different beast in its own. Now, some people will say, oh, that's a thrift store, you can't add that as one of these. But I think I can, and here's why. Goodwill gets their stuff, not locally always, but they ship it around and have some weird ways of selling stuff. I've heard recently that they are going on OfferUp, which is going to be crazy, and I will talk about that later on. I have it on my lists to talk about, but they sell on OfferUp from what I've heard. They sell online at shopgoodwill.com. They sell on specific computer parts or game parts. Some places actually ship those all to one store or two stores that are computer stores that then the prices are manipulated a little bit, I think, more, but what can you do there? But I want to say that Goodwill is a great place to go. Now, I will say Goodwill because of two reasons. And that is because Goodwill seems to always be getting new inventory. The one that I go to frequently, actually there's a few, but the one that I go to the most actually has sales like every 2 weeks. And when they have sales, they literally run out of almost everything. The store is barren, but then 2 or 3 days later, they restock that baby, and man, do they get some cool stuff. I've picked up shoes that I've sold from there. I've picked up clothes. I've picked up games, obviously, and a bunch of other random weird stuff that made me money in order to fund this game collection that is actually right behind me. So I think Goodwill has to be here because of what it is and how it is as well. So this next one is going to be Facebook Marketplace, and I know a lot of people are gonna say, oh, well, that's technically not a place. Well, here's where you're wrong. You still gotta meet them somewhere. You can go on this app, and I feel like everybody uses this app, but I don't think people use it to the right way that they need to actually get good deals. So there is a way to offer people what you think that their item is worth. So say they have an item that's worth $100 and they're selling it for $100. Well, what you could do is go up and say, will you take 75? And sometimes those people will take those deals, and you'll get some good deals that way. Now, I know that was an extreme case, going from 100 to 75. May not be able to happen, may be able to, depending on who you're working with. But if you're nice and you talk to them a little bit, definitely a very great place to hit up, because there are so many people using Facebook Marketplace. They're always posting on it, and they're always refreshing that, which is very awesome, which is great as well. If you go back as far as you possibly can and people still have stuff, you also might be able to get a good deal. So definitely check that out if you are interested, because honestly, I think that Facebook Marketplace is a very great place to pick up games, because you can negotiate. Sometimes you can even trade with people. So you definitely have to be smart about it, but you can definitely get good deals if you do that as well. So we're down here to the very last one, and I kind of want to give you guys something new that's not really new at all. And I talked about going places like Facebook Marketplace or Goodwill or thrift stores or pawn shops. I think this one is probably the best way to get a deal, but it is also probably the way to spend more time than you really need, and that is garage sales. In my area, at least, garage sales are kind of weak, but they can be kind of strong depending on the day, the weather, all that wild craziness. So I wanted to let you guys know that garage sales can be plentiful or barren, and that's why garage sales for me just aren't worth it. I spend all this money driving around, wasting time, and maybe I'll find a Wii for $15 with a bunch of games or whatever. But I think that there could be very great things about it and very bad things about it. Now, I do try to do my research when I am going to go garage sailing, and that is use of the treasure map, which is like yard sale treasure map. It's an app that you can get that has some very awesome things. What it does is it actually takes all the ads from Craigslist and puts it on a map and shows you guys where stuff is in your area. So you can pull that map up, find things that are close to you, click on them, say the ones you want to go to, say the ones you don't want to go to. You can click on them and find out what they're selling. All that stuff is very awesome, and I need to show that off to you guys sometime. But the way I use it now, it's kind of a fun way to do it if you want to go garage sailing. What I normally do is I get up, actually the night before, I'll preface this, the night before I pull up the app and find ones that I want to go to. I'll try to email those people or text them and say, hey, do you have pictures of this? Or hey, can you hold this? Or something like that. And then I'll get up in the morning, I'll look at that app, make sure all that stuff is still sold or still available, not sold. And then I will go to those places and I'll keep that phone out looking and making sure everything's open and seeing if new things pop up. But then if I don't find anything, I just go to the flea market that's close as well. So I'm kind of already out there, but I don't want to spend the money of driving around and just come back with nothing. So usually what I'll do is I'll do my research on Friday night, get what I want to do, try to message them, then I'll go out on Saturday morning, check it out. If I don't find anything, I usually turn and burn and go to the flea market and usually can find at least something that makes that day worth it. So with that being said, I want to know what you guys have for top 5 places. Now comment below and let me know. There are a ton of things that I do and go to that I do find games at, and you guys probably have seen that on the channel, but these are a few ones that I've been utilizing a lot lately, and I think you guys could benefit from that too if you are interested in buying games or making money. So with that being said, I want to say thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell notification because it lets you know when I post more videos. With that being said, make sure you have a good day.